How's it going, guys? AK Beast back with another podcast. This is actually our second podcast, and we have whatever. So we got a special guest and a non-special guest, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Well, you know who I am, assuming you've heard any of our other shit or fucking seen any of our other shit.
He's non-special.
I'm always special, but I'm never special.
What
about this guy?
I guess I'm the special one. This is War Dog Knight. This is the first time doing this podcast, joining these fellows.
Gentlemen, I believe.
Gentlemen.
Okay.
Okay.
Classy word. That's classy.
Sorry,
I want them to be like, oh, these guys are classy.
Okay, the lads. Okay.
Oh, the lads. The young lad.
So, today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. We actually just finished watching it, and we're going to give you our thoughts and... Impressions. I like that.
Alright, so first of all, don't fucking lie. We saw that shit like an hour and a half ago because we were spending so fucking long trying to do mic checks and shit.
He ain't lying.
Alright, so what was your question?
Alright, so... First, before I ask questions, what would you rate the movie?
All right, so we kind of did like a little mini one before we even left the theater. So before I answer that question, am I talking about it as like somebody who's quote unquote never seen or heard anything about Spider-Man, like just a movie, like boom, like I don't know anything about Marvel, I just want to see this movie out of nowhere, or somebody who has seen a lot of other shows, movies,
even the comics about
that stuff.
I guess do both. First, start off with like you've never seen Spider-Man, you don't know what Spider-Man is, but your kid wants to go see it, even though you don't have a kid.
All right,
and you're using that as an excuse to go watch it.
Yeah, fuck that kid. Talking about like the movie, like on its own, like that I've never seen any of the other Spider-Man anything. I probably rated an 8 because it was great. Like it was well paced and everything. But as somebody who has seen Spider-Man and you know
the comics,
the character and all that. Honestly, I'd probably rate it like a 5, maybe even lower.
Okay.
And but before I pass it on to War Dog, this is from here on out. It's spoiler territory because I mean we're gonna talk about the movie, so we're gonna talk about the characters, what happens in the movie, all that shit. So you have been warned. Fucking go watch that shit first, or if you don't give a shit about spoilers, just fucking listen to this fool.
Yep. So, what did you think about it, War Dog?
Like you were mentioning about somebody that hasn't seen Spider-Man that much, or that isn't really familiar with the character. I mean, I am pretty familiar with it, not to the extreme where I know every single little thing about him, but I did grow up watching his show.
At least you know some of his backstory.
Yeah, some of his backstory. They did kind of change it in the movie a bit from what I was already accustomed to watching before. I mean, overall, it was okay. It was a good movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
So if you've never seen Spider-Man...
It was worth the ticket.
Like number rating.
Like, yeah, what would you give it if you've never seen it?
Okay, well, I would probably rate it about a 7. About 7, close to 7.5. Let's do it like that, 7.5.
And that you actually know about Spider-Man, what would you rate it?
Ooh, I mean, it was missing some stuff with it. I'd give it probably like a 5 as well. 4.5 maybe.
Shit's about to get heated.
Alright, so now that these losers finish explaining why they hate it. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm about the same. Like, if I didn't see Spider-Man, I would say this is an 8. But even then, like, there is so much backstory that in the movie is not even explained. Like, if I didn't know about Spider-Man, I'll be like, I think they mentioned it once, Uncle Ben, and I mean, he's the key figure to who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, they barely, like the only thing that happened was, like, they didn't even say Uncle Ben, I don't think. The only thing that happened was, like, oh, like, I have to take care of Aunt May because of, especially right now, what happened. Mm-hmm. Like, they kind of, like, oh, all that, what happened with Uncle Ben is fresh. But, again, like, for somebody who's never seen or, knows anything about Spider-Man, you're like, that sucks, it's just some shit went bad, but you don't really know. So, yeah, they didn't... I mean, it's true. That's a key thing. And you think about Peter Parker and Spider-Man. In every single thing, like, that's the thing that triggers the whole, like, why he's so justice-driven, I suppose, is what happened to his Uncle Ben. Like, and that's the person who was his father figure, like, throughout his entire life. So the fact that you didn't have that, that's what made him literally into Spider-Man. Because the power is sure, like, but... that whole line where it was like, with great power comes great responsibility. That's what made him. Like, that's what drives his actions and his choices. Like, without that, he's just some fucking kid,
And it didn't even mention how he got his powers.
No, they mentioned they mentioned it real
They
quick.
talked about it.
Yeah, where they were like,
not
"Oh,
showing it.
you got bit by a spider. Oh, that's cool," and that's kind of it.
But
like,
they didn't show. I'm sorry. They didn't show it. They didn't show anything about oh, there's a spider on my wrist or something. Biting me, and they didn't show that. They just mentioned a little bit of that.
So I guess let's move on to the next question.
hold on. But real quick, the thing is, I understand it as far as like when it comes to a movie. Because how many times have you seen a Batman movie and you're like, okay, I know exactly what happens, and they still tell, they still show the alley sequence, they still show all like the training. Like to one point, it's understandable that they cut it out because it's like, oh, you want to save money and things like that. But by cutting out something so important, like even giving it like maybe 3 minutes of like a flashback would have been enough. But the fact that they just kind of like, oh yeah, that happened, I guess.
I feel like it's because it's the third time, basically the third reboot. And I feel like that's why they feel that they shouldn't have added that. But at the same time, it's a new generation of audience.
Exactly.
Why not repeat it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, so the next question is, what did you think about the characters? Side characters, main characters, you name it.
All right, I have a lot to fucking talk about this, so strap in, bitches. All right, so the characters themselves. Oddly enough, the guy who played Spider-Man, what's his actor's name? I forgot.
Tom something.
Whatever, that fucker. I like that. That's the guy that a lot of people were skeptical about because they were like, "Oh, he looks young." Honestly, out of all the acting, he did the best. Like all the other characters were, decent.
Better than Aunt May's one-liners.
Yes.
Oh.
Hot.
She was fine
man.
as fuck.
Hot.
Okay.
She was fine as fuck. We'll talk about that too. But yeah, no, all the other characters, like I was telling these guys, oh my god, Flash is not a bully. He's somebody that I would bully. Like he looked like a bitch. Like, and he was like, because in every adaptation, Flash was the dumb jock who was being a bully to Peter, and he's an asshole. But he's an asshole because he's a bully. He fucking shoves him around. Claiming that dominance. In this one, he's in the same academic team with him. He's like, he's kind of like that. Like the guy that throws shade at him, but not really a bully. He's just kind of like, oh, he busting his fucking ass. But it's like, dude,
like a troll.
Yeah, but it's like, dude, that's fucking dumb. Like that doesn't give motivation. To, like, oh, like I gotta beat you. No, it's just like, oh, that guy's just stupid.
He's
like,
a douche.
Yeah, like exactly. Like he went from being like a jock asshole that like he an obstacle for Peter to overcome to just being like, oh yeah, that guy's a douche. Like don't worry about it. Like I didn't see him as an antagonist or anything.
He's just a side character.
Yeah. But that's my point is that like. In a lot of other things, when it comes to Spider-Man, it drives him, and it's a big point in his high school life, and it's what makes him also make a lot of choices that he does make. And this one is kind of just like, oh yeah, that guy's there, like he's an asshole. Don't worry about it. That's basically how they took it. It's like, oh, that guy, yeah, he's an asshole. Don't worry about it. Yeah,
pretty much.
Just don't worry about that guy.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of things to talk about the other characters, but let's talk about Flash. So that was my piece on Flash. What about War Dog?
I totally agree with you. Your statement on it. He was, he's not that type of bully that you expect to see, in high school. Always pushing people around in hallways and stuff like that. Whatever bullies do nowadays. I don't know. But I mean, yeah, he seemed like he couldn't do anything to Spider-Man.
Peter.
Well, it's Peter. I'm sorry. Yeah, Peter. This is
Peter is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
One in one.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's Peter. He's not Spider-Man in the high school. But yeah, I mean, he didn't really seem very intimidating at all.
And there
honestly.
was no progression to his character.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was just there for the sake of like, oh, we have to have a Flash Thompson.
The best way I can describe his character is, if you're one of those like smart people and you're in this like club and there's someone just like around the same level as you academically, and they're just trying to like be better than you and low key throwing shade at you.
Yeah, but that would be more like a rivalry. This was literally just like, oh, this guy's just here
throwing shade everywhere.
Yeah, like for what? To what end? So I don't know. That was kind of that thing. What about a contour?
If I had to give him the comic, I guess, review, I'd probably give it a 1 out of 10. I don't think that
the character himself.
Yeah, the character himself was not, I guess, what
necessary.
Yeah. If he was like not included in the movie,
you would have noticed.
No big difference.
Yeah, because he doesn't do anything. Literally the entire time, like his worst thing was Penis Parker. Like, okay,
I forgot about that.
Wow, like I kind of feel sorry for the actor because like, bro, that's what you're gonna be known for. Like that
Penis
sucks.
Parker.
Like, so I don't know. That was Flash. Going to like other characters, like some new characters that they added. You know, like his best friend or whatever. I don't even fucking remember his name.
Ned. I can relate with him.
Like I haven't watched I haven't read too much comics lately, but is Ned a made up character?
I'm pretty sure he's new. I'm pretty sure. I mean, whatever. Again, kind of the same thing. I've seen a lot of stuff from him, but I haven't read every single freaking Spider-Man comic. Spoderman. But yeah, like his friend was great, but I don't know. Like this kind of goes to with every character for me is that every single character aside from Peter Parker, even Peter Parker at times, just felt like they were unnecessary.
You know what I feel like they should have done? I think I don't remember what cartoon it was, but I feel like they should have, instead of having Ned, like kind of in Arrival, like you were saying, they should have had Harry.
Yeah.
But slowly, because in the beginning, Harry was not Spider-Man, Peter Parker's friend.
Yeah.
They later became friends, and they, Osborn and all that. And I feel like that's what they should have done.
Yeah.
Because Ned was just that funny guy on the side.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think I know what you're talking about. I don't remember if it was either Amazing or Spectacular Spider-Man. I think it was Amazing Spider-Man.
It was on Netflix, I think.
Yeah, like where they went to high school, and yeah, like they were friends, and then slowly the things that happened were like it was a rivalry between them, and then where it was kind of like, oh, Peter's always getting this the one-ups, so that's what kind of started like, oh, like damn it,
exactly.
Peter, like, and that would have been perfect, like because where they start like that, like it would have been perfect if Ned's character was replaced with Harry, and then maybe by the end of it he's kind of like, no, like I don't want to be, how Ned puts it, that guy in the chair, like, I want to be the guy out there, like,
yeah,
but like kind of with different motivations. But see, that would have been development to a character compared to Ned, where it was like, oh my god, you're Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Like, dude, oh, that's so cool.
And like to go with that, like as I said, honestly I feel even Spider-Man or Peter, I felt no one really got character development to the extreme. Like, it was just a movie. Yeah. And it's weird to say, it's a movie, but a Spider-Man going forward, there was no, besides the ending credits, which we'll talk about later, I feel like that was just a standalone movie. Like, that's it. Like, once the movie's over, that's it. There's no part 2. That's how I felt, because...
Yeah.
But at the same time, I guess they're using part 2 to maybe further their development. Mm-hmm. Or, I don't know how you guys see that. Alright, so pretty much we've covered Ned, Flash, and sort of Peter. We're going to be talking more about Peter and Spider-Man, but... honestly, what did you think about Aunt May besides her being hot and shit?
Alright, so this is crucial.
Down, boy, down.
She's fucking fine. Okay, as a character to look at, of course, 10 out of 10, would watch again just for her, probably, like at home, alone.
By yourself,
at night.
Door closed, locked.
A lot of
earphones on.
No, but as Aunt May, she was terrible. She was terrible. Like, honestly, like, it's just like, your Aunt May is supposed to be the one who, like, coddles him, just be like, oh, you're my little Peter, this and that. Like, she, like, not necessarily she has to be vulnerable, but it's kind of like, she has to be the thing Peter wants to protect more than anything. And honestly, she was just kind of like, oh yeah, go to a party, like, that's cool. Oh yeah, have fun, this and that. Like, she, also, going back to that, she had no character progression. She had nothing going on. Again, if she never even came out and Peter was just kind of like, oh yeah, I live with my Aunt May, like, nothing would change. Like, it would be the exact same thing.
And it's funny because in one of the scenes, Peter was like, oh, I have to do this for what happened to Aunt May. But throughout the whole movie, Aunt May's giggling, laughing.
Yeah.
Like, no sadness at all from her part, honestly.
No
suffering. So that's it sucks. Like, I love these characters, but in the movie, they're awful. And I'm not blaming the actors. Like, it's whoever obviously writes the script and, like, the direction they wanted to go. But Aunt May, literally, she wasn't there. No big difference. Flash wasn't there. No big difference. Ned, I feel like he fits in, but I would have rather have him Harry instead.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm being nitpicky. I'm obviously like...
Or keep Ned, but give him something to work towards. Like, I mean, the whole idea where he was like, oh, I want to be the guy behind the chair. Prove it. Okay, sure, like, when he disabled the tracking device from his... But even then, it's kind of like... I don't know. I just didn't feel it, man. Like, not for the actor or anything, but it's just like, same thing. His points were just like, oh, man, like, you're Spider-Man. That's so cool. I want to do something. But it's like, okay, like, that's it. Nothing really happened. There was no point where, oh, like, I have to do, kind of a sacrifice for Peter, for being, for having this responsibility of knowing You know, I feel like one of the perfect things that would have happened is if somebody like kidnapped him and being like, "Who's Spider-Man?" Like, we know, you know, and like beating the shit out of him or something, and he's just like, "No, no, no," and that would prove to Peter to be like, "Okay, like damn, like this boy is ride or die." You know, he's who I have to have on.
Or have Peter also saved Aunt May in that movie would have been like,
yeah, because
a little more affection.
Yeah, there was no personal attachments, honestly, for him. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, he only had one heroic scene. Pretty much what you were mentioning about, you know, he disabled Shocker. I mean, that was the only thing he did, you know, kind of to be a hero like Spider-Man, which he was surprised, you know, because he had his powers for just a little bit of time.
Are you talking about like the school bus scene?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
the school
towards the
bus
end.
scene,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
So I have a lot of talk about the powers and all that stuff too.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
So, again, this is something that I was... I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but from seeing all the different adaptations or, you know, the things that I'm used to, oh, man, they changed them way too much. So, again, I think the actor did a great job playing him. Like, he got the feeling down. So, I don't know if it was through script or something, or what. I'm pretty sure it was just, like, the way, you know, the director told him, like, oh, do this at this scene. You know, this is what, you know, we want you to do. But for being Peter Parker, he did not act like Peter Parker. Like, there was a scene where, you know, he has an alien, like, power source. Any person who has half a fucking brain is going to be like, damn, this is dangerous shit. I better examine it. I better, you know, do the smart thing. And being fucking Peter Parker, like, take it to a lab, fucking do something with it. What does this one do? I'm going to beat the shit out of it with a hammer. Over and over and over. And I'm like, dude, that's so stupid. There's so many points where it's just like, this is not what Peter Parker would do. And, okay, just because we are talking about Peter Parker already, like, the whole Spider-Man thing, okay, the entire movie would not have even happened if it wasn't for one thing that they literally took out. I'm pretty sure they just got rid of this power.
Here it comes.
His spider sense is gone.
Yep.
There was not a single moment in that movie where I even
My
thought,
spider senses are tingling.
yeah, like there was nothing. He had reflexes, whatever. I'll get to some of the other things, but yeah, he did not have any spider senses. He got hit fucking from the back so many times.
They were
like,
basically implied, right?
no, not even.
Not
Because
even?
do you remember, like, there was a lot of times when he got hit in the back. The whole thing with, like, a Shocker's fist or whatever, where he just walks up to him and he punches him in the fucking face, like Spider-Man, who can dodge bullets and shit. It's like, dude, you literally let someone punch you in the fucking face. Like, what the hell? Like, and I was telling these guys too, like, not just the spider senses. I honestly feel he did not have any powers. Like, that's what's super weird.
The whole
like,
suit was his powers.
Yeah, and that's what I hate, is that the suit that, you know, Iron Man gave him, it had so much shit, like, oh, you know, you could do this, like,
So some parts
like,
I didn't even know about.
Hundreds of, like, web combinations, all the shit, and I'm like, that's cool. I felt like, to boil it down, I felt like the suit was more Spider-Man than Peter Parker. Because I didn't really feel any moments of like, oh man, like, I want that superpower. Like, honestly, like, I'd be like, oh, that's neat. But I want that suit more than anything. Because that's what was apparently the focal point. But, I don't know. I can go on for fucking days about it. But what about you, War Dog?
Okay, well, pretty much almost the same thing as you that you said right now. The thing is that overall, I think this Spider-Man, the actor that played this Spider-Man, I think it was better than all the previous Spider-Mans.
Like Andrew and Tobey?
Yes. I think he played it well. Yeah, he's, you know, a young kid, you know, typical, you know,
high school.
Yeah, high school, high schooler. I'm sorry, and he did okay with his character. The thing is that missing. They missed that spider sense. They really took it off from him. Like, and you know, we're accustomed to actually seeing his spider sense in either comics or, like, you know, kind of what I was used to in cartoons back in the day. He got that eliminated from his character. Instead of him, like, sensing, you know, danger, he pretty much saw danger already coming to him in person, not really like a sense that, you know, about what Panzer was talking about being hit in the face, about, hey, incoming punches here and there. Also with Shocker, you know,
Or pseudo shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah, spoilers so y'all don't know. Well, we're already giving spoilers. There's
Yeah.
pretty much 2 shockers.
Yeah, there's 2 shockers. The first one died.
Or 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. No,
First one died, yeah.
The one in the stink?
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no, like touching on that too, it's like, again, elaborating on it, it's like, dude, I didn't think he even had powers. Like, it was the suit, I swear. I don't know. It just, that's why I'm rating it really low, is that for watching a Spider-Man movie, I don't feel like it was a Spider-Man movie.
The way I feel is the original trilogy with Tobey, didn't he have like the web slinger, like pretty much it was like
it was in his body.
In his body, and supposed like I guess contraption and stuff. Do you feel like they should have gone back to that, or because at the same time it's like it's not really his power.
Yeah, well, even in the cartoon, like, or the 1990s cartoon, he had it in cartridges also.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It changes too. Like, there's pros and cons to it, but touching on the web also, that web was weak as fuck, bro. Like, weak as fuck.
Yeah.
In comic books, his spider web could actually hold back the Hulk. That one was cut by a freaking like little knife and shit. Like there was nothing to it.
I thought that the Spider-Man costume was actually pretty much too evolved for him to use. It had a lot of technology in it, a lot of combinations, like Panzer was saying. He didn't really know too much of the costume to be actually wearing it. So I mean, I give it a low rating because of that. Overall, I guess.
I have a pet peeve also from just like knowing Spider-Man. I every time he was climbing through the wall, it looked like he was struggling so much. It kind of like pissed me off because his hands are supposed to be like I don't know, sticky, I guess. I don't know.
Thank you for pausing for a good amount of time just to think of that word.
Yes, sticky.
Sticky. Okay.
But yeah, like if you notice in the movie, he's kind of struggling. Like it wasn't easy. It wasn't as fluent. It wasn't 60 FPS.
I understand what you're saying in that one, but it's true. There wasn't much of like wall crawling other than when he was scaling.
Even web slinging throughout the New York City. It's supposed to be like iconic. You know?
Yeah, like I don't know. That's my point. Is that I feel like they reach too far. Like there's so many things. Honestly, I think I don't know if it was the studio or what, but I think it was kind of destined to fail when they wanted to put too much of their own shit into it. Like one thing for sure that was way too much was the random ass comedy. Like Peter Parker, Spider-Man is supposed to be the funny guy, throwing all these one-liners, being Spider-Man, being funny, all this shit.
No, it's the other way around.
There was like maybe 2 or 3 lines where he was funny as Spider-Man. Every other character was throwing jokes left and right. Oh, making this funny, this and that. It's like, dude, leave that to the professionals or who it's supposed to be about. Like, this is my point. You're trying to flesh out these characters that nobody honestly gives a shit about, and that you're dropping the flagship character, the guy whose freaking name is in the damn trailer and everything. It's Spoderman.
And right, like going on to like if they make a trilogy or just a second part, all side characters don't even have to show up, and that's what sucks. Like I don't know why they're trying so hard. If they didn't make an impact in the first movie, they're most likely not gonna make an impact in the second movie. And moving on, Peter Parker's most likely gonna help him out in the next Avenger movie. So it's like, why need those characters?
Yeah.
And to be focused on Spider-Man, his characters, then do something about it. I feel like we're talking too many negative things. I want you guys to tell me what are your most favorite parts of the movie, if any. Go ahead, War Dog.
Man, that icy was pretty good though.
Plot twist.
Yep, plot twist right there. Yep.
Hey, speaking of the plot twist, go ahead and talk about the plot twist that me and Panzer were like, oh my goodness.
That is a good part of it. So I guess that ties into like one of the good things. So
yeah, I honestly knew about it for some other source out there, and I saw it coming already. And Vulture, he's the father of Spider-Man's crush,
Peter's.
Yes, Peter's crush.
Remember, Spider-Man is a suit.
Yes,
Peter is a human.
As a character, yes, Spider-Man is a character, but man, I mean, okay, Peter, yes, Peter. Yeah, Vulture's the father of Peter's crush, which everybody in the theater were like, "Oh my god!" You know,
like Peter's face though. Like,
yes, Peter's face.
Oh, his face was like that was the best acting I've seen.
Like that's when I was like, all right, you know, like I want. That's when I decided.
He was even sweating, man.
Yeah, that's when I decided, like, okay, like I want you back, bro. Like this is genuine. You're just like, what? Like,
Vulture opened that door. Peter's face was just priceless. It was just like it looked a lot of fear, a lot of anger. He was just confused. He just couldn't believe it. Overall, that was his facial expression. He didn't necessarily have to say it, but his facial expression, told it all. And he was overall in the whole scene looking at him the whole time. He was pretty much worried of everything that was going to happen. At the time, Vulture didn't know that he was, Peter was Spider-Man yet until he took both of them out to prom. And that's when Vulture kind of, suspected him.
But who ratted him out, basically?
Oh, man. Who did?
Basically, Peter's love in that movie told her father, or
all the plot holes where it's like, oh yeah, you were there in DC with us, with Spider-Man. Oh, but you weren't there in the elevator with us. Yeah. You weren't there. And then, like that other part where like, oh, but you always leave when Spider-Man shows up, basically. So like, it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, oh my god.
And his face was also like, shut up.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm gonna fucking strum you. So this is one of the points that I think would have made it way better, because it's something that Spider-Man does a lot. He didn't have any quote unquote thinking bubbles. He didn't have any inner monologue. And I feel like that's what builds Spider-Man 2, is because the whole thing is that he's trying to balance responsibility and the right thing to do with his own personal things. So see, that scene, even though it was great, I feel it would have been perfect if he was just like in his head like, oh my god, like what am I going to do? Like that's Vulture, like, oh, like, him talking about it to himself, like it would emphasize on the struggle, the internal struggle that he's having, because that's what Spider-Man does in everything. He's just constantly thinking in his head. Like he's a jackass. He's funny, like out in public, or like to the enemies and everybody. But inside, he's always turning. His head's always like, shit, what am I gonna do about this? What about that? Like that's who Spider-Man is.
You want to know why that didn't happen? It's because literally, like, even though there's some scenes, there was literally no life-threatening situation that made him like want to, like, I guess, evolve as a character. Like, there was no life-threatening situation.
But in that situation with like where like Vulture ended up being Liz's dad or whatever, like that's perfect explanation. That's the perfect opportunity where he could be like, what am I gonna do? Like, do I stop him? But he's got a family. Like see, I feel like he would have been like, oh, but now I know what he's doing. If he's just a dad, like I understand, but he's doing something wrong. Like, I wanted to see that or to hear it, and I think that would have been amazing. I mean, because that's what would have sold me even more, honestly. But there was nothing of that. It was literally, shit, like,
Can't believe it's him,
Like, well, I'll be damned.
So pretty much as we're bashing on it, so pretty much that plot twist with his girlfriend being, the dad Vulture and all that. Anything else that you saw was really good, or that they can build for the second movie?
I think something about a positive thing that I have is that, out of the surprises that happen in this movie, there might be more surprises in the next movie. I'm pretty sure they can probably fix some stuff, or maybe go back a little bit, maybe on back to where Spider-Man
kind of like flashback.
Yeah, it's kind of like a flashback to it. I mean, I'm pretty excited to watch another Spider-Man movie. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the same actor. I don't think they're gonna get anybody else. I don't think anybody else would fit a right Spider-Man for a next one.
Like basically rebooting it for the fourth time.
Yeah, I guess rebooting it for the fourth time. But I mean, I'm pretty sure there'll be more enemies, for Spider-Man coming up.
And I hope, because I don't think they've done it, because I actually did not see Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's the only Spider-Man movie I haven't seen. But I hope they build off towards the Sinister Six. Like, that's going to be... And they better add Mysterio, because he's one of the, like, awesome
That's your villains.
Boy? It's my boy from Spider-Man 2, man. Because the bitch should kill him.
The game, though.
The game.
But yeah, I mean, talking about some of the pros about it, like, again, as a standalone film, it had a lot of things to kind of keep you entertained, like the comedy that's literally around every other sentence. I don't know, like it's a lot of modern day things that are keeping you like, oh, like that's cool, that's neat, like
I like a fidget spinner.
Basically, and that's what I say. That's a pro. Me personally, I think it's a bad thing. The good thing about that is that you're never bored because there's always something to grip your attention. Like when you're like, it's a bad thing to. It's a bad way of thinking of it, but it's kind of like you don't have time to think like, oh wow, like what's gonna happen with this enemy? What's gonna happen with this thing? Because it's like, oh hey, here's a joke. Oh hey, there's something that happened. Oh, he tripped and he fell. Oh, like this, look what happened. Oh, this person's flicking you off. You know, it's like there's always something happening where you don't really have time to think. So as far as enjoyability, like yeah, you can probably burn through the movie 4 times and enjoy it because there's always something happening.
Also, I guess another pro thing that I think is obviously good, that they did the high school aspect good, but at the same time bad. Like if you're a high schooler, you're supposed to be going through these problems and they were non-existent. Mm-hmm. But I guess they got the setting right because the other Spider-Man, even though maybe he was so high school, he looked like he was freaking 25 and stuff. Like it kind of did not fit. And another, I guess, bad thing is why hint all this time? Oh, who is this girl? Is this MJ? Like, oh, besides people that know spoiler, why not build off that relationship with her? Yeah. Like, they should have built the relationship instead of just like, oh, who's this mysterious girl? Oh my god, bro, it has to be MJ. Yeah. Either that or Gwen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, going back to the whole MJ thing because that's also one of the things that I hated the most. Don't get me wrong, in the entire movie, I think like even though she had a bunch of little like quote unquote one-liners. Like she was super enjoyable to watch.
A lot of characters had one-liners. That's all there was.
But I like hers, like, cause she was so like, you know, she was a bitch, but she was funny. Like I liked her. I liked her as a character. And then kind of the same thing. They didn't say her name at all until the end, or they said her name like midway. It was Michelle, and then at the very end, like, oh, but my friends call me MJ. So I was like, okay, that's MJ. Like I knew she was somebody important, so kind of the same thing. She was either gonna be MJ or Gwen, but what I fucking hated, and it's the same thing that you just said, they didn't do shit. This is the stupidest part about it. The entire movie, she was basically just like, oh, hey, Peter, you suck, kind of thing. Like, like literally nothing. Like, no development, you know, just like a lot of your other fucking characters. But it was kind of like, just like, oh, yeah, this sucks. Oh, that's whatever. Oh, that's cool. You know, flick you off, whatever. And then at the very fucking end of the movie, oh, but my friends call me MJ. And then Peter leaves. And then she just looks at him like, oh, like all flirty. It's like the entire movie you had zero fucking interest. Like,
well,
other than that one scene, one scene where she hinted like, oh, I don't stalk him. Like I just, you know, I'm observant. But it's like, that doesn't do anything. Like where is the?
He didn't even notice.
Exactly. Like they didn't build on it. Had he maybe been like, oh, like that's cool. Like maybe even had like a minute-long conversation. Like maybe we should hang out. Anything like that would have been like, oh, that's cool. Like that could lead to somewhere. But to save it for the very end, where it's like, oh. Shit, we gotta introduce MJ in the next one. Oh, hey, it's her. Oh, no, I'm suddenly interested. When nothing fucking changed. Like, for Peter Parker, nothing fucking changed. So what made her suddenly like, oh, now I like you?
So I have a question for you guys, I guess. So, I know. It was a little off, but Peter, I believe in the movie they said he was a sophomore.
Yeah.
Correct me wrong? Okay.
That's right.
So, assuming there is a trilogy, he'll be a senior by the end of the trilogy. Mm-hmm. Assuming they do it year by year. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that if they make a 4th, a 5th, or even like he becomes the next generation of the Avengers and stuff like that? Because obviously, like Iron Man and Captain America, the actors might retire and stuff. Do you see any progression like on that, like going to the future, like him getting older? What's gonna happen?
I mean, they showed a new costume for Spider-Man. I'm excited to see that. Man. A suit.
We wear costumes.
Yes, costumes. Okay, well, the new suit was presented towards the end of the movie. It looks sick. It really did. It was by Tony Stark.
And bringing that, I wonder what would have happened if you actually said, oh, yes, I want to join the team. Because I wonder what he was going to say in that press conference. Like, who were those people? Were they going to talk to Peter or were they going to talk to Spider-Man?
That's what I'm assuming is that either one of two ways. Either he kind of would have had to do the whole Tony Stark thing where it's like, oh yeah, I'm Spider-Man, deal with the bitches, or put on the suit and just be like, oh hey, you know, I'm the newest addition to the freaking Avengers. So that happened, I guess. Which I mean, that would have been hit or miss, but I don't know. I figured he was gonna decline it also, the offer that is.
Like a credit card.
Yeah. Oh, and going to that suit, it seemed really reminiscent to the was it the Spider-Man Unlimited one or whatever?
Something like that.
Like just more metallic, you know, more armory. Which I guess that's how they're doing. I guess the
shiny.
The new age of like
it's true because like I was telling Pans in the movie theaters, like obviously from the comics, the games, you look at Vulture and he literally looks like he's wearing a pajama, like a bird pajama type of thing, which I think he actually has wings, if I'm not mistaken. Like they're not actually robotic in the comics. I believe so. Whatever. Well, I feel like with the new age, like it's all tech now. Not really spoiler because by the time you see this, pretty much Scorpion might be the next villain, and I feel that his suit's gonna be kind of technological, just like Birdman. I'm gonna call him Birdman. I forgot his
freaking name. No.
Oh yeah, Falcon. That's how his suit is, you know. What I'm saying? And I feel like these movies are geared towards the new audience, but at the same time, they're gonna grow up and they're gonna be like, "Oh, I remember. I saw Spider-Man: Homecoming. Zero development, zero. Like the plot was like."
But see, you can't make that an excuse where it's like, oh, it's like the new age of people. Well, then make a new IP, make a new hero. Why you keep using Spider-Man? Like, if it's for the new age of people, well, then make a character who has all this high-tech shit, make a brand new character. Like, you know, that's cool. Why use Spider-Man? I mean, one, for obviously the business aspect where it's, oh, Spider-Man, it's gonna fucking sell compared to, like, making something new. But my point is, like, if you're using an old character, it's like, you have to stay semi-true to the source material.
And also, Spider-Man is known to be, like, one of the most relatable heroes of all time because he's a kid, high schooler, but when you saw the movie, I'm just like, I don't want to be Spider-Man. I didn't get that vibe, like, damn, because when I was a kid, I saw Spider-Man movies. I don't know, it's because I was a kid, but I was like, damn, I want to be Spider-Man. Like, he was one of my favorite heroes, and I look at this Spider-Man, just, oh, that's cool, but, I mean, if I get a suit, I'm pretty sure I can do that too. So it was more of, and I can't even say, oh, it's more of Peter, it's more of Spider-Man, like, it's just bland, man. It's bland. It was really bland.
Try to make it too comedic.
Yeah, no, that's definitely.
They try to do a lot of that stuff.
And it's cool because Spider-Man's supposed to be comical, but it just wasn't implemented right.
But Spider-Man is supposed to be funny.
I am Spider-Man.
Not the other bullshit characters that nobody gives a shit about, you know. Like,
honestly, yeah, you're right about that.
Like seriously, like,
I mean, yeah, it was a good laugh and all, but you know, you're still thinking to that point where, hey, it's Spider-Man. You know,
and granted, we're ranting on because we grew up as fans as Spider-Man because he was so relatable. Yeah. But
and that's my point too, is that like a lot of this, and that's why I hate that like he didn't act like Peter Parker, because even though he was on the academic squad or whatever the hell it was, it's like, dude, he wasn't smart. Like, dude, Spider-Man even in high school was a fucking genius. Even in high school, he was smart. He did things so upstandingly, so to speak, but still, you know, had his kid side. Like that's the thing. He was trying to balance being a big hero, taking down big names, compared, and then, you know, trying to contrast his high school life, still trying to be a kid. But here we're just kind of like, oh, he
wanted to be an adult.
Yeah, no, like here he was just some fucking kid in a suit. Like, that's what sucks. There was, again, no character development. There was nothing. I don't know. Like, that's why, again, like a Contour said, I'm heated because, like, oh, man, like, I just want them to do a fucking amazing Spider-Man movie where, like, dude, spider senses, great action. Oh, talking about the action, just as I hit on it, where was it?
Yeah, it's in the wrong person, man.
Honestly, there was one sequence at the end where they were Vulture and Spider-Man were fighting. One, it was way too quick. There was way too much flashing. There was way too much, like, lights. You could not even see what was happening. I couldn't.
You're basically saying that there wasn't one-on-one action, right? It was literally
like
far apart.
Like, I don't know, man. It was just that's what I'm saying. I don't even feel like I watched a Spider-Man movie. That's what sucks.
I can agree with that. I definitely can agree with that. Like, throughout the movie, it's weird because usually movies that don't have action have a plot to it. But I feel like this movie, in the beginning, nothing pretty much happened. Going into the plot twist of Vulture, things started picking up, but still there was no action in it. And that's what Spider-Man, like, that's what it's known for. And like for the heroes, like one-on-one, like their history, like at the end, well, like I said, I keep saying no spoiler, but there's a spoiler. The guy knew who Peter Parker was, but he didn't rat him to Scorpio.
Everybody knew who he was. You know, even Aunt May at the very end.
What the fuck?
Yep, exactly.
I didn't like that because Aunt May is supposed to be this like old sweet lady, not like cursing. Like,
yeah, like
exactly.
Or hey, go dance with
like I'm used to seeing Aunt May as in like an elderly person. '70s and the 80s there, but she didn't look that elderly to me. She didn't act as an old woman, I guess, as a caring old woman that's like
fragile.
Yeah, like a fragile old woman. But I mean, that was just another thing that I didn't like.
And to bring that throughout the movie, there was low key. Oh, she's hot. It's like you have a mom and like your friends are like, oh, it's a hot mom. It's like, why? I feel like they did it on purpose because why get an Aunt May that looks pretty fine for her age? What was the purpose of that?
I don't know, who wants old people in movies? like it's, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I feel like I wouldn't say we specifically have a problem with it, but like they're just, I don't know who these like movie studios are trying to cater to. Like, I don't know anybody who's asking for these kinds of movies. Because honestly, if I wanted to see a hot chick, I'd go watch fucking porn. Like if I wanted to see a comedy,
just like Ned,
like if I wanted to watch a fucking movie where there was comedy out the wazoo and fucking everybody was being funny, I'd go watch a fucking comedy movie, a dedicated comedy movie. If I want to see a fucking superhero movie,
a lot of action. You like this?
I want action.
Yeah.
I want the deep plot. I want the freaking history of the heroes, not whatever the fuck I just watched.
Yeah. It's upsetting as like us that we're a little older, but then I think I mentioned it before, but then what is the next step for them if they listen to their fans or like us nerds and stuff? What can they do? They obviously can't recast. And adding character development, which will most likely happen, I still don't think that's a big difference. So what do you guys think would be a significant difference?
I couldn't tell you because fucking obviously there's going to be good and bad points to doing something too close to the book and then too far to it. Like this one reached way too much. So I don't know, like it sounds weird to say, but like if they were to just like translate a freaking one of the cartoon shows or comic books into a movie, word for word practically, I'd want to watch it. But a lot of people wouldn't, because they'd be like, oh, where's the new age comedy, where's all the sex, and where's all this bullshit? It would be kind of one of those cult classics, I would think. Like, to the people who were like, oh my god, like superhero, I'd love to see it, but then like it's not going to be a movie that everyone's going to want to watch.
Honestly, you won't have anybody happy at the end of the day. Nobody's going to be really positive about that movie or the new movie. There's always people that would say, oh, they missed this, they missed that, like we are saying right now, they missed some stuff. But I think hopefully in the next future movies of Spider-Man, they do add more action. I really do hope they add the sense to it. I mean, I really do. The Spider-Man sense.
But see, then like we're saying like, oh, what do you think they should add in the next movie? To add it there, and then to just like it wasn't present in the first one, like.
Yeah,
people are just. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of continuity problems, where it's like, where the hell was that in the first movie? Like,
exactly.
where was that? Like where the romance development with MJ, there was none of that in one. Well, like where there was actual like fear and problems going on. Where was that in one? Like, as odd as it is, I would want them to do a reboot of the same characters and everything. Just do it better.
Fortunately, they can't do that.
Yeah, but okay, fine. Do two, but kind of the same thing. Do like a kind of an origins flashback with what happened with Uncle Ben. A great way they could fix Aunt May is just be like, oh, like she was putting on a face for Peter, trying to be strong, and then in part 2 she just breaks down like, oh, like I can't, like I lost Ben, and then this and that, like make her vulnerable again. And same thing with the other characters, like just fucking leave him the fuck out. Flash Thompson, you don't have to fucking bring him back at all. Fucking like none of that shit. Like, honestly, from the alternate.
Well, actually, in a way they do, because I want them to keep the high school setting.
But I mean, is like, don't give him the freaking screen time he had. Don't give him the quote unquote importance he had in this one. Make it about Peter, MJ, a little bit of Ned, and then the villain. Like shit, dude, do that and like, damn, that's
and
Aunt May. Not May. Like, and that'll be gripping. It'll be more focused compared to, oh, here's Happy, here's Flash, here's Liz, here's this chick. It was way too much. Like, honestly, the more and more we talk about it, I'm like, damn, I don't like this movie. I would not watch it again. It sucks.
Yeah. The only time I feel like Peter acted was that scene we talked about where he was in the car scene and he's all freaked out and everything. I was like, other than that,
the daddy talk.
The daddy talk. Make sure y'all know what the daddy talk is.
I'll teach you.
Well,
like I said, I wouldn't watch it again, but I would still suggest people to go see it. If you haven't seen it, well, I don't know if you're fucking watching this shit if you haven't seen the movie, but we kind of said everything. kind of. But no, I mean, whatever. It was fun, kind of.
Kind of.
Last post
I'm
credit
talking
scene
about the.
though. Was...
I'm talking about the movie, not the fucking podcast.
Oh, speaking of the post credit,
we're leaving and shit, right?
I know, I forgot, guys. Sorry, I just remembered.
Packing my bags.
Packing back. War Dog reminded me. I feel like the post credit after Scorpio. By the way, there's 2 end credits. By the way,
Scorpio
was Scorpion. My bad. I don't know why Scorpio's a freaking Xbox.
Scorpion, yeah.
That's gonna be a suit in part
yeah, like it was a major troll for us fans because we're always expecting.
I hated it.
And it was,
Captain America's just talking.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Don't. If you're seeing this for the movie, don't even see the second.
Either one, honestly.
Or yeah, either one. It didn't make a difference.
Yeah, because all that really happens is like, oh, I hear you know who Spider-Man is. No. Oh, cool. Okay. Like that's
yeah. Even the post credits had no.
It was weak as fuck.
Yeah, they were weak.
Like,
No development.
Like that did not make me like, oh man, I can't wait for the next one. And I was just like, okay.
You're
like,
right. Yeah, honestly, I had the same feeling. I was just like, okay, I guess. I mean,
like,
another.
Like they literally could have just put that in the movie.
The very end.
Yeah, like after they were like he talks to like Liz or Lisa, whoever the fuck what her name was, and
show that scene.
Yeah, like literally just show that part where it was like, oh, I'm sorry about your dad, and then show that little jail scene, and then continue. Like they could have done other stuff. Like that was a weak ass fucking like.
They didn't show any preview to any other movie,
yeah,
any upcoming movie at all.
It's
just a troll, yeah.
Like, God, man. Like,
honestly, go watch the movie. We obviously talk too much bad things about it, but just go see the movie. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. If you dislike it, you'll dislike it.
This is just opinions. It's just we're not perfect.
Yeah, because some people will tell you like a movie's fucking balls and it's like your favorite one.
Yeah, true that.
Just opinions.
So with porn, dude.
Yeah.
They'll be like, nah, man, it sucks. And I'm like, it's going into my bookmarks.
So there you have it, guys. Stay tuned for the next podcast. This is Panzer, Contour, and War Dog signing off. Beep.
You got it all fucked up, but okay.